Hey, it has been a minute. It's Jen with Genuinely Living, and I'm back in Florida, and I am happy about it, let me tell you. Um, I want to talk a little bit about my procrastination that kept me from posting this particular video before I even get into the next step, because I think this is really important. Um, the last video I was having you write down goals, things that you want to accomplish, and then write down some feeling words next to those. How do they make you feel? And I was thinking about this because I have a very, oh gosh, what is the name of the journal? I think it's called, Clever Fox Journals. That's one of my favorite, like planner type of journals. Clever Fox, you can find them on Amazon. And it's a more masculine structured type of journaling style. There's a little bit of feminine flair to it, but primarily like structured tracking. And each week in this particular version of that journal, or planner I should say, there's a part in it where you write down what you learned that week, like things you didn't accomplish and why. Those are the more feminine aspects of that. And I put in procrastination. So I wrote down in my just regular writing journal this morning about when I procrastinate. And I think that this is super important because you become an observer. The tendency when we're procrastinating with something is to just go into this mode of like, okay, I'm going to stop procrastinating and just get into action, which is good. You need to do that. That's right. But when you ignore the root or the cause of the procrastination, the conditions become ripe for that weed to pop right back up later. And so when you can kind of find the root, you can sort of hack your way into not procrastinating anymore. So let me explain. My procrastinating comes on when I'm feeling overwhelmed. Usually if I've busied myself with a bunch of tasks that aren't really game changers in my life, they're not really moving the needle in anything. It's just a bunch of busy work. And quite honestly, I learned this from someone who was leading me in a different time in life. Quite honestly, there are some things that you can let drop. Okay, there are some plates you are spinning that you can let drop. And it feels really weird because that's where perfectionism wants to take over and things need to be perfect. And so you just kind of get yourself into overwhelm, and that's very quickly can lead to procrastination because you're now overwhelmed, you're sinking into despair. And that's something that is going to lead anybody to just sort of shut down. That's what I'm talking about, getting to the root. Another thing is I procrastinate when I find that I'm not really using my voice, and I will post more videos about this for sure. Comment down below if that's something that you want to know more about. I've really practiced this. This is not something I'm just sharing that I read out of a book. This is something I have practiced. When you've ignored your own feelings, again, this is almost the same. It's like a close sister of the one before about being overwhelmed and busying yourself. A lot of times when you're doing that, even, you can get very resentful of the people around you, and then you're not really voicing that you need help or assistance, and you're not willing to ask somebody to help you. Or to let things drop because the chatter in your head says that they're going to think a certain way about you or whatever. There's a lot goes on in here that can lead you to procrastinating, and if you can get a handle on some of that, a lot of times it will help you to ease out of that more quickly. So when you're not using your voice to communicate what you need, and you're just stuffing it down, you can be in resentment, and that resentment can cause you to not choose the higher thing for yourself. So if you know that you want to be posting a video or doing something in your business or handling something at home, and you really want to be doing that, or those goals and vision things that are important to you, it's if you're in a space of like resentment and you're not using your voice and you're not asking for help and you're not like saying, hey, I need a day to relax or whatever, or you're just not listening to your own self. It doesn't have to involve anyone else. A lot of times your mind is telling you, hey, go take an art class, or go, spend some time on the beach, or just go get your hair done, or something like that. And you're chatting back to yourself and saying all these things: I can't, I don't have enough money, oh, I'll feel irresponsible, or all of those things that we say to ourselves. Sometimes you just need to honor that woman inside of you that is leading you to something that's really going to be helpful. And the more you're pushing that down, that inner voice that's leading you to something that would really feel good, you stay stuck in this anger and resentment and bitterness, and that can lead you to procrastinate, because it pulls out this little rebel in you that kind of says screw it all. So watch out for that one too. If you find yourself procrastinating, that was just something I noticed in the week. I'm not condemning myself or making myself feel bad about it, but it was something that I kind of wanted to look at closely, because it's a pattern that I find myself in. If I'm procrastinating, these are things that are going on underneath, and I'm more interested in the things going on underneath and building into my life patterns that are more supportive. So, like for instance, this next one, I need in my life room for feminine flow. And by that, I'm not talking about like woo-woo feminine flow type of stuff that's not tangible. I'm talking about creativity. So a lot of times when people talk about masculine and feminine energy, it can sound very ethereal and like, I don't know, like magic stuff. And I'm not discounting any of that, but I like to think of it. There's a woman named Mina Afan that talks about it like the masculine would be like a container like this, okay? It has like firm, hard edges, a distinct shape that you can recognize. But I can put anything inside that container. I can put coffee, I can put water, I can put wine, I can put pop, I can put whatever inside of it. Sand. I can put dirt and grow a flower in it. That's the feminine part, where you're putting in whatever you want to put in. But the container is sort of the parameters that you set. It's only going to be this big. It's only going to fit here, okay? So I'm very good at the container piece, and it's just because culturally and like just socially, I think women, when you're a mother, you get into this like I've got to keep everything together mode, and so you get really good at creating a container for all the things to get done, for all the people to be happy and grown, and then once they are grown, you don't necessarily need to keep such a tight container. Now you have a little more looseness in your life, a little more breadth in your boundaries. So you have some space for that creativity to come back in. And now it feels weird because your container has changed, and maybe you have not practiced any of that creative flow, that femininity, that like, what do I want to make here? And that's what we did when we were mothers. We literally created lives, okay? And we created these humans, and we grew them into and nurtured and got them to the place that they are today. And that was our thing we were working on, or maybe a career or whatever it is, your education. And then once that piece has sort of stopped, and now you have to create a whole new container, and you get to be creative with whatever you put into it, it can leave you feeling a little off balance. So I am leaving space for me to be creative in areas where I have not practiced that. So you just have to realize and give yourself grace and understand that maybe it's not going to be this clear-cut process that you're so used to. I've been used to, You pay the bills, you write the bills, you do the grocery list, you do the laundry, you do the cleaning, you do the whatever, do the business, and you do all these things, and it's just, there's such a routine and pattern to it all. And there is not tons of space in that container for creativity because it's jam-packed with life, okay? And so now that I'm in a space where there is room, I am giving myself some grace to fill that space however I choose. And that might not be the process that I'm used to, where everything is so clear-cut. And it may be, I mean, I'm calling it messy, that's not even the right word for it, but just a little more loose than what I'm used to. But I know that my procrastination is coming from there because I just did not leave space in my week to allow myself the freedom, that's the word I'm looking for, the freedom to just express and to just look around my surroundings and create instead of just being in this container. I love me a container. I love routine. I love that. I thrive in it. But I also know that I need to have that creative juice flowing in my life. So I hope that speaks to you today. I hope it encourages you. Again, just a recap, if you find yourself in a space of procrastination, look in your life, because you really want to get the weeds out, because they're going to pop back up when the conditions are right. And here are those conditions that would lead you to finding another procrastination weed in your life. One might be feeling overwhelmed because you've busied yourself with a bunch of things that you don't really need to do. It's just busy work. You're not using your voice. So if you have something, like if you feel like someone has an expectation that you can't meet, and you can easily just express that, okay? You're not responsible for their response, but you are responsible for communicating it. You're a big girl. And then the other one would be related, and it's that resentment that you feel. If you're feeling a lot of resentment and you feel like you're not getting help, you got to ask for help or let it drop. And then the third one is not leaving space for that creative expression. And that can be just in the way you're getting dressed in the morning. It could be just listening to music, spending some time outside. It doesn't have to be you painted a mural on your house, which I would love to do. But, it's just leaving space for you to do that. Maybe it's writing in a blog or whatever, but leave space for yourself to express. That's one of the things that with feminine energy and creating that we do, is express ourselves, and we create. And you're not doing a service to anybody when you are dialing that back. It takes some practice to be able to do that from a space that isn't angry, that comes across, I don't even know how to express that nowadays. I think you can do it honoring the person that you're communicating with, but because they have their own needs and their own stuff that they're dealing with, and their own past, and all of the things that you have, they have as well. And so if the ultimate goal is to have peace with that person and to enjoy your lives together, then communicating in a way that leads there is essential. And that may take, again, journaling. To just journal, what is it that I really want here and really need and I'm really trying to say? Because when you're all up in your head about it and you're just like letting your mind run wild, and then all of a sudden you start talking, usually that doesn't go well. So I would just suggest, coming from a place of I want peace and unity, and to honor each other going forward. And if you can, write down what it is that you're wanting. And if most of the time as women, we don't know what we want because we've never asked ourselves. We've just kind of been functioning. So kind of try to get clear on what it is that you really want. That isn't I want you to stop being, I'm saying If you want rest, if you want more time in the morning, if you want a little corner of the house to be yours, if you want a chair on the patio, whatever it is, like, just express that. And most of the time people will be, especially men, will be super ready to accommodate, because they want you to be happy for sure. Because the old saying of when mom ain't happy, ain't nobody happy, this is true and they know it. So I'm leaving you with that today. I hope it resonates with you. I hope you are encouraged. You've got this. Jen signing off.